What is up, ladies and gents? I am the Guitarist 562 and I do video game guides and walkthroughs. And today I want to go over how to build from scratch to emphasize damage exclusively to your playstyle without legendaries to clear content. Getting gold clears in tier runs is extremely important because it maximizes your gains in receiving legendary loot to salvage. But before you get there, you need the right gear. A lot of YouTubers mention builds at legendary grade, but before you reach that level, you need to be able to use epic or rare gear that can work for you that is much easier to get. Why? Because you need to actually clear the content to salvage loot to gain mods for higher damage output. What are mods? Mods are a passive ability that your armor set and weapon sets can get. Salvaging blue gear gets you the tier 1 mods, the tier 2 mods drop from epic loot, and tier 3 mods drop from legendary loot. You can't beat RNG, but you can minimize terrible loot by constantly grinding at the highest tier loot pool. So even at tiers below 15, always aim for gold. Now, I've mentioned this before on stream, but the fastest way to get great gear is to actually find your gear set through blue rare armor pieces and weapons that have already at least one mod that you want and upgrade its grade to receive a second mod. This way you can have control over 2 mods instead of having no choice on epic loot that comes with locked mods. What are locked mods? An epic 1 mod is already locked, so that means you can't change it, but if you upgrade from blue, you can actually pick out a piece and it doesn't become locked until after you swap out the mod a second time. This can be done later to swap out and benefit from 2 mods that you can fit into your build instead of having an irreplaceable mod. Most people that don't know or are unaware build from epic loot and miss out on this, but realistically you can get a nasty build from building straight from blue. Now, mods are one thing to look for, but you also want to pay attention to armor substats. What are armor substats? Armor substats or weapon substats have 3 main buffs and you focus on these skills depending on the build that you are going for. For example, I am building for anomaly damage and bleed and cooldown, so I would want anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and status. I do not want close range damage, long range damage, or health received unless I am speccing specifically for that. With that said, from blue I upgraded my gear and looked for the first 3 substats that I mentioned, and the mod I was looking for in regards to earthquake or gravity leap, I kept because those are the 2 class skills I will be using in my runs. For example, I am building around Earthquake as a skill for the Devastator. That is the mod that I want, so if I find a piece with an Earthquake skill, I'll upgrade it to Epic and then swap out the free second mod for another Earthquake passive to use 2 Earthquake mods instead of just 1. This way you can pick and choose what mods you want with much more control versus a legendary drop that you can't alter or an epic drop that you can't alter either later on. Now, let's go over my build at the moment. Headpiece is anomaly status and cooldown like I mentioned before, and the first mod is Earthquake inflicting bleed. This was a blue piece that I upgraded, so the first mod I want to be locked was an Earthquake relevant mod. Now, I can swap out the second mod for whatever I want or move around based on my build's requirements. Let's go down to my gloves for example. I traded out these gloves because unlike my past gloves that had anomaly cooldown and close range, this set gives me status instead of close range, further advancing my build. My first mod that is locked is Ground Crush that I chose to be an Earthquake mod because it's an Earthquake build. And my second mod that I have room to choose can be a tier 1, 2, or 3 mod. For this build, I chose a tier 3 mod that allows me to do extra anomaly damage by 1.5 after a successful leap. Like I said, the gloves I had prior may have had 2 of the 3 substats I want, but it didn't have all of them, so do not keep gear that doesn't work for your build. Put it in your stash if you want to try it for something else. Follow this method for your armor and weapon and you can create a beautiful build. For example, for my weapon, I have a mod called Fortress that gives me 45% extra damage. Not everyone has access to this mod, so you need to adjust and find a mod that works for you to benefit your overall build. Now, class tree is a whole nother video, so I won't digress on that, but for the armor guide, this is the best guide you can watch to explain how to build for your class with weapon and armor sets. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. If you need a carry, just catch me on stream. I'll be helping usually Sundays at 6 o'clock Pacific time. I do my best to keep guides to the point, so if you enjoyed the content, please leave a like, sub, and comment some feedback. Socials are in the description box, and don't forget to catch me live on Twitch at the Guitarist 562. Stay blessed, folks. I'll see you next time.